Cardano is down over 92% since its all-time high back in 2021. In this video, we're going to be discussing whether or not Cardano is a dead project if you just take a look at that price action, or whether it has absolutely insane potential for the future if you take a look at more metrics outside of just the price action. So as I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, selecting all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. The link for that is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into the desktop though and take a look at what's been going on here when it comes to the price action of Cardano. So Cardano's got some interesting things that have been going on, right? And if you just take a look at the price action here, you can see that since our all-time high, we've come down 92.91%, which is pretty steep, right? But that also gives us the massive opportunity for the future, right? The fact that price action has come down so aggressively means that we are incredibly undervalued. And one of the other things that you have to kind of keep in mind is that Cardano has even better technology now than it did when it had its all-time high up in 2021. There's been recent developments on the ecosystem that have actually encouraged more and more dApps to build on Cardano rather than something like Ethereum. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff to kind of say that's been going on with Cardano that actually gives it an even stronger footprint than it did before. Okay, so some good stuff. So although we're down 92%, I think that is massive opportunity. But let's go ahead and dive down into a few additional things, right? So on the price action here on the weekly time frame, we can see that we've got this really steep negative kind of curve to the downside. We've also hit a new bear market low point in June of 2023, right? It's something else that hasn't necessarily been happening for things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example. But many altcoins, not just Cardano, have gone down into new bear market lows. This is actually to be expected and isn't actually that unusual when it comes to the price action of Cardano or any of these other altcoins. Essentially, Bitcoin will bottom. If Bitcoin has already bottomed, that is, it's still up in the air as to whether that one still has to go down further. But if Bitcoin has bottomed, it's not unusual for altcoins to kind of go sideways and to go into new bear market lows before actually starting their bullish market. This is something that you saw back in the previous cycle as well. We saw a lot of altcoins actually hitting their bear market lows back in March of 2020 during the pandemic crash. And some of them were even going down into lows beforehand in 2019 when the Fed actually had their pivot as well. There's a lot of things going on outside of just the price action in the price charts. But let's go ahead and take a look at where we currently sit with this, right? So as you can kind of see, we're still expecting a little bit further to the downside on Cardano's ADA. Okay, I'm expecting price action to be interesting. Now, although our current bear market low sits down here, and what I'll do is I'll grab hold of this. I'll throw it down here. It's 22 cents. Okay, the time before that, okay, so the bear market low beforehand was set here at 23.92. Now, for quite some time in 2022, I was calling for a 22.23. And obviously, we've kind of come right into that range. But I suspect now we have to go down deeper. This isn't something that I take lightly. It's, I had a prediction. I was predicting out 22.23 cents for Cardano's bear market low. However, now we've kind of seen that number here, we have to consider what the structures of Cardano mean and what that might mean for the price action. And I suspect that we actually have further to the downside to go before we actually finish bottoming out. And that is a fantastic opportunity in itself, right? So when we come back down into this price chart, where do I think things are going? Well, we think we're going to be landing somewhere between 15.17 and 18.07 cent, right? So right in this little zone here. But, that's going to be not only a fantastic opportunity for dollar cost averaging and all those kind of things for the next kind of big move to the upside, which I'll get into in a moment. It is basically going to be, a lot of fear for retail investors as price kind of comes down into that range, because essentially what we saw is a lot of narratives of the bear market is over, the bull market has begun. And a lot of people were FOMOing in, is maybe paying 40 cents for ADA. Maybe they were even paying premium prices like 60 cents or so, right? But for the most part, you can see that there's still potential to this to kind of come down a little bit deeper. And that's going to be quite painful for some, but an opportunity for many others as well. Now, in terms of the price action here, you're looking for this downside area. This is you might kind of think that's negative, right? We're just in this kind of steep slope to the downside, if I can get all my words out today. However, there's some interesting things that we need to kind of consider. If we take a look at DeFi Llama, for example, we can see that the total value locked for Cardano has been growing exponentially during 2023. Now, this is something that I think retail investors absolutely must know about, right? And that is that as price has been decreasing, total value locked has been increasing. And this is, it kind of breaks a few people's minds a little bit, because the value of ADA, okay, or the price action of ADA is going down, meaning you can buy a lot more ADA for a lot less dollars, right? So when you see total value locked growing, measured in dollars or USD, it means that a lot of the supply of ADA is getting locked up, right, across these DeFi applications, for example, MinSwap, Indigo, Liquid, and in fact, I can go into this and show you guys, right? We can see where a lot of this total value locked is, right? And you can see there's some percentage changes and there's some adjustments to this. For example, Indigo is up 10% in the last month, right? And Liquid is up 21%. 39% up for MuesliSwap, right? And 29% for LenFi. So what we need to understand here is that the total value locked for Cardano measured in USD is growing, which basically means a substantial amount of ADA is being locked up. That is going to create an imbalance in the supply metrics between demand and supply, right? You want to get that imbalance going on. And so what we can see here is we can see this total value locked growing in USD. Now, I can, of course, change this to ADA, and you can really see the growth potential in this amount of ADA that is getting locked up, right? It is insane. This is really positive for Cardano. We've got 600 million ADA locked. It's absolutely insane, right? So this is a huge potential for the future of Cardano, right? Despite the fact that the price action is looking aggressively negative, right? And we're just looking at this steep move to the downside. Although we have a nice target range for accumulation, one of the big takeaways here is that the total value locked growing with over 600 million, actually it's a little bit less than that now, it's 596 million ADA locked up across these platforms, is going to be a huge catalyst for creating imbalances in the supply and the demand for Cardano's ADA. And so this is a huge thing, because it does mean that price action is going to get a very explosive move to the upside, which, if we find the right chart for this one, I think it might actually be on this one. Yeah, right here. Okay, and we can see where the future potential could potentially lie. Okay, now this isn't necessarily going to be an easy one to kind of talk about and to kind of illustrate and all these kind of things. There's a lot of things when it comes to this particular chart that have to be explained. Now, I'm going to kind of give you a brief overview of it to kind of let you understand that I think there's a lot of potential here. But in some of the other videos that I've kind of put out on Cardano, I go into it in a little bit more depth than I am today. Okay, so I do go back to the channel or drop down into our Discord server. Link for that obviously is in the description down below. So let's bring this back up, right? So what's going on here? Well, we have our bear market low theoretically at 18 cents. If it goes down lower, the targets also drop down a little bit lower, right? And so we need to kind of consider that as well. So just bear that in mind. So we're going to just take the higher range at 18 cents for now, but if it drops down lower, the targets will drop down lower as well. There's two yellow boxes here. Now, typically, the structure that you see here is we have a 5-wave pattern down here from March 2020 through to November 2021 or August 2021, I should say, up here, right? So what we have is this 5-wave pattern. This 5-wave pattern is the start of a zigzag at worst case scenario. Best case scenario is this is the start of an impulsive pattern, okay? It's only one of those two options really available to us here. So if we started with 5 waves, we must end in 5 waves, okay? So it means we have to have a 5-wave move up to this side here as well. So we have 5-wave pattern going up. We've got this corrective pattern coming down, and we know it's corrective because of all the overlapping structures that are going on internally. And it's a lot of zigzag patterns like doubles and triples and things like that. Nothing major going on in there. We will hit this 18-cent bear market low point, and then we're going to look for a 5-wave move upwards, right? And so typically you find that it comes to a 1 to the 1.236 fib scale. That's typically where that would go. Now, that is very, very much an ambitious target, $31 for Cardano, right? It's a very ambitious target. So we want to be thinking about where price action might find resistance on this journey, right? And so that's where the second box comes in here. We know that the 0.618 fib scale and the 0.786 Fibonacci sequencing levels are going to be bits of resistance for us for Cardano, right? And what I mean by this is essentially that a lot of retail investors are going to react subconsciously to these Fibonacci levels. They'll feel that things are overpriced. They feel that they've kind of reached a level and they want to kind of sell, right? They want to take profits at these key levels. Now, with that being said, these particular levels, I think the 618, for example, will probably get rejected temporarily from it, and then we'll probably push through it. The 786 is the one that we need to see the closures above. Preferably a weekly close above that level will be really strong for us, and it will allow us to then kind of maybe push up towards that slightly higher range. So what are the targets for these? Well, this puts us at about $4.38 through to approximately, if I find the right level there, $10.50. Okay, so that's going to be like the conservative target range, which means we're going to see a pretty decent growth. If we go from 18 cent up to that low level of around 438, it's about 2,500%. Going up to $10 is about 5,500%, right? So there's a lot of potential growth here. And we can't rule out the $31 either, depending on what goes on with the total value locked. If it continues to grow the way that it is going, Cardano is going to be in for a very, very nice bull run, in my opinion. And of course, we don't stop there. If we head on over into our members website, which, guys, you can take a part in a 7-day free trial if you want to, membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗍𝒑𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀𝒀 Cardano. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load up this Cardano report separately so it makes it a little bit easier to see. I'm just going to bring this up because this gives us all the overview stats, right? You know, the all-time high, the number of days since its all-time high, the percentage that it's down, all those kind of things. And now if we go over, not to liquidations, but over to the wallet sizes, right, we can see how many people have specific amounts of Cardano, right? And whether or not they are fluctuating. So take 100,000 ADA, for example. On the 4th of August, there were 24,470 people that had over 100,000 ADA. And from here, we can see that it's up in the last 365 days, 5.33%, which means that the growth has been happening here. Accumulation has been happening at this wealthier level as well. In fact, you can see across all these time frames, 180 days, 90 days, 30 days, 7 days, that they've just been accumulating ADA. Going to 1 million ADA or more, you can see that actually they've been accumulating quite nicely as well. They're still slightly down by 1.9% in the last 365 days, but for the most part, accumulation has happened here in the last 90 days. And so we can see that aggressive price action to the downside here has occurred. And as such, the wallets have started to kind of pick up into these kind of bear market lows. The light blue line are the wallet counts, as you can kind of see. Now, going down into the lower spectrums, you can see retail investors are really backing Cardano's ADA, 20% up on the 10,000 ADA or more. There's 180,000 wallets at the moment on that. 1,000 ADA or more is up 29% in the last 365 days. 874,000 wallets. So we know that there's a lot of growth potential here happening, not only at the total value locked level, but also in the kind of HODL positions as well. People who are buying and accumulating and holding that ADA, and they're holding it incredibly well with good growth potential in that. So for the most part, it's looking very, very good for Cardano's ADA, right? We can see there's good potential moves to the upside here. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of put together a brief video just to kind of trying to explain what has been going on with the value of ADA being totally locked up, or the total value of ADA locked up, we can see that growth potential there is absolutely insane. It's growing at the dollar value level, but it's growing at an exponential level if you look at it from an ADA point of view, which is going to have a big impact on the supply demand metrics. We also have about 1,200 dApps building on the ecosystem as well. That is going to be a huge catalyst for bringing in extra demand. So we're already seeing shrinkage of supply bring in the demand, and I think we're going to be heading very, very steadily to the moon. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. But guys, I'm going to wrap this one up right there. If you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new, subscribe. And guys, don't forget to check out Discord. Link for that is in the description below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.